basically walking up FFGs. And then when you sell off, that initial sell-off is created by, or a rally, right? So if you're going to buy S3, for instance, you want to buy an IFBG at S3, right? You want to see the price go into S3 and create an inverted isolated pivot, sell back down, and then buy, right? So this, which should really slow things down for us a little bit, which is really nice. You know, I mean, just kind of keep that in mind.
Or but you use this call for 1 minute, right?
Any time frame you want, in theory, as I understand it.
Small time frames. So let's suppose that.
But like this, it can come back in 10 minutes, but it also can come back in half an hour.
I've seen, in theory, it's the same. The algorithm is balancing, from what I understand, and obviously I'm only talking about a conversation I had, literally. Like, so everything I just drew to you, I've done without anything other than a conversation I had with somebody. And that conversation lasted for about 30 minutes. And I went into full autistic sponge mode while I was listening to him. So as you can see, I absorbed quite a bit of information from it. You know, but it's so yeah, in theory, as I understand it, this same principle, the algorithm is using the same principle on every time frame. And there are algorithms that are manipulating the stock market on these time frames as well. So it's like they can tell we're really close to high of day, and there's a lack of orders between large blocks above. A large smart money player could come in and just start buying the crap out of the ticker, right? And that's going to force it up, and it's going to make the price run really, really quick. But so what creates the inverse fair value gap? In a way, is what happens is once that effort fails, that smart money player comes back out just as aggressively as they came back in. Right. So once it popped and it came back to fair value, it comes back to this midline, and it doesn't support, but rather it rips through whoever bought here, right, and initiated. Let me get on this one. Whoever bought here and initiated this movement at discount now finds themselves underwater. And so that's why if it pulls back up and it comes back through and moves back through that discount area, that's why you're going to get a massive price initiation there, right? Because you're going to get a large dump. Now, ironically, that large dump of volume will create a fair value gap here, right? A bearish fair value gap should be created as a consequence of the inverse fair value gap. Right, so once this comes down and it pulls back, it should come back to the midline and then hold. And this is what literally creates ABCD patterns, right? Is we dump through the lower, you know, the leaner part to the big order. We then pull back up what available structure is there, and then we start selling back down to the larger orders below, right? But it's the algorithm that's constantly rebalancing the price, keeping it from moving too far too fast. Right, which is why a lot of people, when they get a really big price movement, they like to just hit the bottom of the candle right there, let it pop a little bit, and then sell. Right, because they're just playing that algorithm, and they basically just target back towards 50% retracement on the large candle. You just play the movement back to value. And there are, and as a scalping strategy, if I was going to try one, now that I understand how this works algorithmically, that would be one I would do. You know, I mean, look for a fair value gap into R4, hit it at R4 when it drops away, take the profit and walk away. You start hitting that with 10 micros, call it done. I mean, but now, luckily, I'd like to do that with 10 micros and then hold from R3 to S3, right? So, but this is, you know, what you're going to want to see is if you're looking for a reversal play, so long at S3, short at R3 out of the middle of the range, you're going to want to see an inverse fair value gap established there. If you're going to look for trending plays, which would be your trending breakout, your counter trending breakout, well, actually a counter trending breakout would still have an inverse off of the pullback. But so basically, if you're looking for your R4 breakout or your S4 breakout from inside the range, you're going to want a fair value gap to form when that break happens. Right? If it doesn't, then you're not going to want to play that. And you're obviously going to want bullish order structure on it as well. Obviously, bullish order structure. Woo! 913, and I have not been in Bearable Traders yet, but I had to get that out of my brain.
Thank you, brother.
And I'll work on that. I think it's pretty
Coming in hot.
already built an indicator once that was basically showing me any ISO beam that was being created. So I can start with that, and then it's just basically looking for
Yeah, and if it fits the right play, for the, like for instance, it wouldn't do it right now because we're not at R4,
right.
right? So, but if we were at R4, let's pretend, right? You can see here that as we pushed up, right, and we did this, we had a really hard sell and then a close, right? So right there. Oh, sorry, I actually drew that wrong. Sorry. It's actually the top of that candle and the bottom of that candle. Look at that. There's the entry.
And that's your inverse FB,
Yep.
right? Okay.
Yep.
Oh, so
So it's basically an isolated pivot with a pullback.
yeah. I see. Okay.
But this is why we're doing what we're now. This has bullish order structure, right? So I'm not necessarily thinking this one would work.
No,
Right? He did say it is very important to pay attention to the order structure. He said if the order book is up, there he insists we're gonna go up like we want to. Believe me, don't screw with us, right? But basically, this is how you're gonna. This is exactly if this was a lower range day on a wide range. This is exactly what we would want the R3 to set up, more or less. And this ISO pivot can set anywhere within, and that's what we'll have to decide.
or
Yeah.
I got a question. So why are you looking at that candle? Right? What if you go back like 15 candles, that big white candle to push up?
This one here.
Yep.
Yep.
Because that did exactly the same thing, but the other way.
Exactly. So and this is actually into bullish order structure. So in theory, this is actually the one you're more interested in.
Why are you drawing it there? Shouldn't you be drawing it on top? We don't know what the top is yet.
No, well, no, it's a bullish. This is a bullish FFG. So it engulfed here with high
Right.
volume, right? Engulfed with high volume. That's exactly what you want to see. An ignition with high volume, right? We then pulled back and came back and tested. So we're holding now. The ideal entry would be at the midline here. But if you're okay with running a wide position, you can buy anywhere in the FFG and put your stop below as low as you can, obviously. So that would create a target of here to here. Now I wouldn't play that because we're in a semi,
Yeah.
right? But we do have bullish order structure, right? So there is a hold on.
Below the initiative candle, is where you typically toss to put your stop. But if you do have like, a wave low or something, you can move it down a little bit farther to be, kind of conservative about it. But as long as below the initiative candle that clears FVG, you should be good. And oftentimes I'll just put a limit order on top of the FVG and buy it. But, again, a conservative way to do it would be wait for it to wick into it, a new candle to open above it, and then you just get in there, because it showed you it's offered fair value gap and you're getting more buyers. You see the next white candle above it? That's a really good entry there. After it wicks into it, the next candle has a candle body opens outside the fair value gap, and you can just play that.
So and then you can buy anywhere in here, basically put your stop ideally down here.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But you could I mean, if it runs out the bottom of the FFG and
You're wrong.
it's broken.
Yeah,
Like,
you're wrong.
it's not working, right? So you want to get out. But anywhere in here with a stop here, and then ideally you would be 4-1 in this direction. And I'm pointing this direction because it was a bullish FFG into a bullish,
You see that next white candle after it pushed into the FFG, into the FEG, the next white candle there? That's a conservative entry. You wait for a new candle to open above the FEG after offering fair value.
So now look at now we would want to sell, right? So now look how we're setting up again at R3 here, right? So we still have, and this is why we would be looking for this one, right? Because we have a fair value gap here to here, basically, right? So our midline is what we're interested on this one, right? And we're at R3, so we'd rather short, right? So there's our midline. So anytime, and this will help y'all so much on your entries. Like no longer do you need to be like overtly concerned with just nailing the perfect entry.
Yeah.
Right? If it comes away, just wait for it to get somewhere back in here and then get your stop above high of day.
Yeah.
right? Swing, or what they would call swing high, right? So you see two opportunities here and here, right, to get into that trade. Either one, you run the stop up here above that area, and then your target's going to be a 4-to-1 from there to whatever down is from there. And that'll give you a really nice where, when, and now a confirmed how. You know what I mean? You know exactly how you want to get in and out of it. Look at that. Look how it respects that and how that works.
For me, it just
Isn't
adds,
that pretty?
it adds like an extra like 10% or, more confluence. Let's just say it adds extra 10% to your.
I think if you bolstered that with order book and some BPA
Oh,
and
I
really
know.
like leaned in, I bet we could get it pretty good. But I think this is something, and I really like it, man. I think we could really use this to try and help build the algo and help target a little bit better things, because if we have book structure with Confluence and FFG, shoot, we don't even have to be so picky as long as the algorithm.
You don't have to worry about exactly tagging the top of our
Yeah.
or the top, as long as you get that.
Specifications for positioning and stuff like that, which I really, really like.
Did anyone record this?
Mhm.
If someone recorded it, put it in the chat after. I missed like half.
Because you've been learning this too, by the way, so this is really helpful to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's build this thing, and I'm like ready. So Gazoo, I don't know if you caught the beginning. So I like when I started hearing everyone talking about these, I really wanted to find out if they were legit or not. And you know me, I don't find out if they're legit or not by watching YouTube videos. I just call people who fucking do this shit, right? So I called a buddy of mine who's does some development on the NYSE. He's one of the guys that works at Citadel, and I was literally like, fair value gap, yes or no? And the dude's like, oh fuck yeah. You know what I mean? He was like, those are huge. He's like, those are great. And I'm like, so what's going on? He's like, it's all algorithmic. He's like, they're a result of the quants, it's their quant manipulating the market because other people's quants are manipulating the market, basically. So like if someone, like for instance, right here, someone's algorithm came in here and bought really heavy, and that squeezed the price because they recognized that there was a lack of structure likely in the order book from here to here. So they pop, and look at the sell that comes right afterwards. Pop, right? I mean, it's very fast. It's a manipulation tactic, and it popped the price, but now they've got really good value at discount. So the algorithm will try and rebalance and hold the price and basically get the price so that it's fair. And if the market maker moves it too low, though, whoever initiated that movement's going to bail. And when they bail, that floods generically market volume into otherwise weak structure, right? Which is why you get the flush that basically occurs. And then the flush will drop really hard, and then the algorithm will step in, start buying, squeeze the price back up to fair value, hold the price there and see if anyone starts buying. If no one starts buying, the algorithm will say, well, fuck you, right? And just starts distributing. Right, it will start hitting whatever liquidity it can find on the book, because at this point it recognizes although the market maker wants to go up, it'll recognize the market in general doesn't have interest to buy at this price, right? So now they'll move it back to the next demand zone, and that happens on like every time frame. So it goes from 1 minute to 5 minutes to 15 minutes to daily. Like if they can't get buying here, they'll go to the next high value area. And then the next one, then the next one, as they're hitting bids the whole way down. So it's really interesting conversation. It definitely brought a lot of light into. He literally said head and shoulders, double tops, all of these topping patterns that are created. He's like, they're basically all created by the algorithm doing that. And not for nothing, I actually think this brings a lot of merit to your candles. I think this is one of the reasons why the Heikin-Ashis tend to do so well, because I think they kind of mirror the way the market maker's algorithm is constantly. I think that's, the market maker's algorithm knows, okay, that was a really big move, right? So value is going to be midline on that. That's equilibrium. He called it consequence. He said that's the consequence line, or consequent line. He said the algorithm, when it comes back to that line or that area, they balance it. We'll check out they're selling, depending on what we're doing. Gets partying. So it was really interesting.
Is there a terminology issue? Because from what I was looking for algo stuff, or Lux algo, the premium and discount is formulated with the equilibrium in the middle at various different stages. But I think he's talking about inside the fair value gap, the midpoint of the fair value gap.
Yep, that's what he means by the consequence line or consequence
The
line.
constant line is the mid value of the fair value gap.
So for instance, like if you were looking at this right now, there's a bullish, there are two fair value gaps that are basically created, or one's a fair value, one's an inverse fair value gap that are being created here. And so all reversals would be something like an inverse fair value gap. So you can see here, sorry, I did it wrong. You can see we started the gap here. So I like to use the, basically our low wick here, or our low end here, and then the low end of this one. But you can go high end to high end. There's a little bit of discrepancy. I think you said wick. And then so that wick there.
That's the low wick.
So yeah, it's the interior wicks. So this broke here, so it's this high side, and it came back here and held it.
Exactly what it is.
So and then so the consequent line or the consequence line, I still don't. He said it, and I didn't totally hear him, and I didn't want to make him say it again. So which basically looks like sheet music comes in right there. So basically what we've got here, and you'll see how when the manipulating algorithm came in, it bought, right? And then they pushed it back and held it at fair value, and in that FVG area. Now, this would have been a better long if it had come all the way back into the midline. Seeing it not come back to the consequent line shows that they didn't take the time to rebalance the price. So why was the market maker moving so quick? It does add. But the ideal entry, you can enter anywhere once you're in this zone, basically, using the low end of that. Now, so now once we pushed up here and we got to the top side, you can actually see we create another fair value gap to the top side. And this one's actually an inverse fair value gap.
One thing about the current market structure, at least on NQ, is we did sweep yesterday's low, and to take that liquidity and drop it out, they're going to typically do it above yesterday's high. So we are a higher range day, so again, you want to typically look for a short here yet. You look for it more at R4.
Yep, exactly.
So
So you can see
careful with this right here.
look, so now they drop through here, right? So now you basically have, so this ends up being discount and premium within this area. So you have to think if people are coming back, they're buying premium right now, basically, because the discount's going way down here. So that's why when this failed, we came all the way back down here, right? Because we came back to the original discount from this fair value gap, right? And this gap is going to control the downside of this one. So they came in here when they needed to find buying, they came down and they hit that buyer that initiated it. And look at the volume response when they got into it.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So when it squeezed out of it, they held the downside area of this, but that was really sketchy, right? But this is why your stop's in here and your stop's all the way down here. Right? Because this is, and then your target's gonna be 2-to-1 off of that. That's why you don't want to buy too high, because you're going to buy premium, right? And you don't want to buy premium if you can avoid it. You'd rather see it. So what you'd have been waiting for, ideally, would be to either sell it at the highest premium possible or buy it at the deepest discount possible. So seeing it come down here and pop up, you might have done that. Now, of course, even though there's bullish order structure, we're in a selling range, right? So we know the algorithms by being at R3 are significantly more likely to sell than buy. So I'm not really worried about bullish high value areas, right? Because I'm looking to sell.
Look how it pulled back into the premium of that new fair value gap.
Right. So now look when we created that one to the top side, and this is so now on a larger time frame, we're probably going to get a 5-minute. So you can see here. Here.
Yeah, right there.
We have this one here where we close. So we have this pop here, and then we have this move here. So you could go like this.
Okay.
Midline, right? So you can see here, right, how when we popped up true, right? So if we're gonna short, we want to short as close to up here as possible. We look at selling the market. I like Amazon, even though it's under R3 and a higher range. I like how it's right here. It's here too. Got higher.
Apple's a nice that fair value gap stuff. I'm looking at it on the technique. So.
So let it keep driving. It's not ready yet.
Especially a little indicator is been all over.
One thing about N2 is we have moved about 360 points already. So the AT, we're kind of at a full ATR expansion already. Comment?
A lot of bids still on Tesla. So we're at S3. So like if the indicator was here and it actually quit the play, what we'd be looking for is a new high here. That would initiate things. But like basically we have, a gap here. Driving lower. Never mind. Wait a minute.
Going lower.
You know. You know.
What's coming out that daily 200 moving average.
Was there news on Apple or did something happen? I know the China sales was reported last.
So I shorted I shorted a new fair value gap. I call this in the mentoring chat. It might be a little confusing, but I target. Yeah, I basically drew a fib line from the
inverse fair value gap. Write it on floor. So I'm short. It pulled back right into R4. I got short inside this candle here behind it.
Love it.
Nice wide, nice target.
Well, you already, you did too?
Nice one.
I went on Apple though.
Probably some of those price actions that then feel has been lost time sold on here.
I like, well, AMD, I like it. It had a fairly, at the time of entry, it had a pretty bearish book at the time of entry. So I was like on that. You can see now we're approaching an order block to the downside. Pretty bearish, good selling, feels nice.
Feels good, man. They got a big order block and then two just above the opening price. Pretty sure it's gonna go down there. I guess I could have held a contract a little lower.
Yes, I could have held a couple
Yeah. I don't know, sometimes.
Yeah, I like this, like, I like this idea, like this thing. It's gonna be nice for just kind of, I've been looking for, my entries are so freaking precise. And I've been trying to figure out a way to get y'all into more trades with easier to manage entries without trying to teach you how to see what I can see, because I'm not always sure everyone can see what I can see. You know, like I don't want to always assume we're all working with the same weird brain, which
Yeah,
mine,
you're like a professional athlete.
mine are weird, mine's weirder than most.
So, yeah, we just went right back to that order block that was created at, what was that created? It was created at. So nice, yeah, look at the twice. R4, I mean, didn't really need anything more. Pretty obvious. You know, one of the clues was is that we already moved the full, almost the full ATR on NQ.
Exactly. That was actually a consideration I had in mind while I was looking at things this morning. As I was kind of looking at it, I'm like, we're up in this higher range. Like we'd almost have to deviate our ATR to get up to R4.
Yeah.
So I was thinking maybe we go ahead and sell the S3 and then buy all the S3. All right, so let's see what happens here on AMD. What a squeeze that just was.
There's a fair value gap just ahead.
On instrument, we're below S3 now, so this could be looking good.
If we've moved lower, we've moved past the recent swing low, and we didn't get a lot of volume to buy here. So as of right now, I would expect the market to likely advance lower from this point. But who knows? I mean, the order structure was still strong at the open, so they could just be coming down to grab some. Look at that squeeze! Good lord!
Right through that order though.
Mick. Well, that's less exciting. I was feeling really good about that. Let's leave it over here. Go find that loser.
I like that attitude. Makes me smile when I hear that. Totally different way to think about things. Looking for that one loser.
What a squeeze right back to this frickin'. But the volume was really low, not for nothing. Like, that doesn't look like genuine. But what am I gonna do? You can see this large order is to the top side, so let's see what they're gonna do. Hey, Chris MC's on the rim today. Alright, I'm gonna get out of that one.
Apple continues to drop, heading over to T200. 221.
Apples to apples.
Yeah, I'm up here. I told them, $5.
Hey,
Yeah, man.
One share.
it's all about testing the system, right?
You know, it's one share, I made $5. That's not a bad consistency.
Yeah, 'cause here's the thing to do, because most people buy 100 shares in Apple, right? So you would be at 500, right?
Let's go one step at a
Oh,
time.
100 shares is not even that much for Apple. I bet Andrew takes like 5,000 shares of Apple, so it's $2,500. Yeah.
On the low code side, the top 20 tickers are all below 30%.
Put your hands in the air like you just don't care.
3,000 shares would be 25,000.
Oh, yeah, you got 25,000. Oh, you're right, 25,000.
I like that better.
Yeah, I like the
I'll just deal with the one right now, but.
Just think exponentially. Just think exponentially. You made $5 on one share, 25,000 bucks on like a large position. Pretty cool.
Post a little picture here.
Nice.
Doesn't
Yeah.
really trade.
I mean, you realize that's really good, right? $5.
This is fun and it's keeping me busy.
There you go. And you're learning in the live market.
No, what do you want?
Here. Put it on the price off. Give me 1 second here. I'll just load this code up on my other machine.
Load it up on the other machine. Oh, yeah. Don't go.
Okay, Pivotal, take a look. You have fair value gaps, and you got a order block, and you get a wick right into it, says 50% line.
I want to see. I want to see.
Just before 9:30, you had an order block form and then
You went to see.
226. I just was watching it all morning.
Oh, beautiful.
226, there was that back test into that order block area.
Mercury wholesale? I don't see the.
Got out at the daily 200. I mentioned it in the room. I was like, the daily 200. Yeah, it's only one share. There's nothing to talk about. There's no trades on this. This is what's it called account? This is my paper trading account right now. I'm moving stuff into IB, into TradingView. I'm gonna move like $2,000 into TradingView, and that way I can take a very limited amount of shares.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we were talking about that this morning.
Proof of concept. You don't need to trade with more than one share, excluding commissions. You can make money on one share. You can make money on 10 shares.
You know, let's say 100 times that by 5, you just make $500 in like a minute.
Yeah. The point is, you can take one share and make $5. You do that for, let's say, 3 weeks, and you've got enough for 2 shares and 5 shares. You exponentially just grow your account. And this would become a very small traders beginning to a very successful group.
That's why
The option, it's all relative, you know what I mean? At a certain point, you just can't spend. The point is, you have to get to that point where your percentages are possible.
Actually, that's something I've been talking about with a lot of, we have a couple traders in here who, they're only winning like, one trade or a couple trades a month, or a week, I mean, but because they're not really losing other trades, we're actually, and they're consistent, we're actually still scaling. You only gotta make like 10R, a week, 5R a week. You don't need a lot. Once it's consistent, then you just bump whatever that R means.
And
You know what I
really stick to your stop losses.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you can't do that, you're never gonna make like this.
I have a long at R3. Perfectly, 6, 10, 25 is my entry. I posted it.
How
Say that
long did
again?
you pivotal? I took a
Oh,
look at
nice.
the street, yeah.
Yeah, because it pushed down into those order blocks and the Fair Valley gap to 590. You swept the center basically, you saw the sweep. I was worried about it going through the ERL below, but that sweep, that wake just told me, okay, it's time to get in R3, let's do it.
Lauren, look at my screen.
How do I get the instrument setting onto my Ninja? Because I only have with and without.
I'll do it really quick. Right click on the with tab,
Right
And-
click on the.
right click, go to duplicate a new tab.
Uh-huh.
And then when you're in the new, once it makes the new tab, right click it again and hit rename.
Uh-huh.
And rename it instrument.
Okay.
And then right click on your screen and then
There,
the
right click. Uh-huh.
and go to data series.
Yep.
And underneath time frame, trading hours,
Time frame.
open that up and go all the way to the top. It should say use instrument settings.
All the way to the top. Use instrument setting. Fine. Okay, thank you.
Okay, now go to workspaces and hit save.
Yep.
Always save every single thing you do, otherwise it won't remember it. So there you go, now you have instrument, and do it on your other charts too if you want.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I wish it went a little lower, but that was really nice. Workout, we just came back to the WEWAP,
We got,
and now we're gonna come test.
I heard Trump released his own coin over the weekend.
And Melania.
so yeah, the Trump coin went up, well, it's up to like $50 now. It went to, as of Monday morning, it was up 16,000%. So $100 investment would be at $160,000 right now. But
Yeah, but where the hell are you gonna buy? You have to like, go to these places.
They're not,
that's for meme coins.
zero.
You could go to Robinhood, but you could also, so on some of these, you have to buy them with Sol or some other, Tether or stuff like that. I could send something about how to get into these things, but, at this point, I would wait for maybe a pullback into maybe, again, if it's at 60, wait for a pullback to about 30, so you're gonna buy back in discount. But, yeah, if you would have bought when it was at $3, it would be at 56,000.
Right now it's showing it's only $38.
Okay, so yeah, you pull back, so,
And but I don't see it ever being $50. Oh, okay, very nice.
yeah, I think I'm on at one point. Wild, huh? So,
Yeah, but it opened at what?
20.
50 cents.
Where? What? Not on Robinhood then.
Maybe Robinhood's different, but, it opened under, it was,
Maybe Robin is wrong.
It was up at $80 over the weekend.
there you go.
Price is wrong, man.
Well, there,
Can't see it.
yeah, look how much volume it's got though, it's already in the $1 billion range, the market cap is 7.96 billion already.
He owns like 80% private, right?
Yeah.
But 20% for sale. But the one thing they were talking about was, if you take a look at that as a statistic, the Trump media stock, he never sold, or at least it doesn't show
Yeah,
that he
that's
sold
right.
his investment.
Yeah, well, he's not gonna sell because, it'd be like the hawk swap girl when she released her coin. And she,
Wow, that was a lot of volume.
she dumped it all, you know?
Yeah, it killed the market.
Yeah. So this was he's gonna keep holding. There's no reason for him to sell.
Huh.
Yeah, I see on CoinMarketCap it says all-time low 624, but that's
I posted an image of where it started. I
okay.
posted an image inside the mentoring chat.
Well, I am.
Man, I
Yeah.
Where is that?
Well, Sunday had a massive drop, right?
Well, I sent you a picture of 2-minute inverted for value gap. Wherever you get, I can take a picture. Take a look.
order book on Nvidia got really there.
So you throwing $100 into it now is, you know, you're down in discount. $36, let's see where it goes. I don't like,
Yeah.
you know, I put money into, I put money into Mister. That's about as far as my crypto investments go. So you see, we just swept, unfortunately, we did just sweep, the, ERL low. Pretty much a low. I got one partial. And,
Good, that's what they use.
Yeah. Yeah.
Post it. No.
I think you had to buy it with the line. You had to buy it with the line. I'm not real sure, but I know it's amount of them is important, so I guess, but you have to put money into something on that, buy.
I don't know if you guys remember in like November, December, I told you about that one. Going all in. Like, even such a film.
You know, the aggressive are the people who lose most money and
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, you know, the first guy that bought Bitcoin, he bought a piece with it, maybe that's a public price of like, a couple pennies or something. You know, he bought a couple pennies and everyone's that now. He's probably sitting in $4 million asset in Mexico, that's like. So what did that he said? He is hell, but he didn't go, oh, it's up $500. Can't tell. No, I bought 5 Bitcoins at $421. I was trying to get it at 420, 421. But, I didn't do anything with the block stuff. But that just doesn't help.
Yeah. I saw a thing with the guy that, it was 10,000 Bitcoins that he used to buy the pizza with.
Oh, yeah.
And, the guy that received the 10,000 Bitcoins, like, sold them for like a $400 profit.
So we didn't know. This is back in like the early 2000s. We didn't know.
Would have thought it was still 100,000.
San Francisco, they had like, well, they have them now, but there's like ATM machines where you could,
I remember that.
and, or you could just contact the local guy and then buy Bitcoin. And like, there was people that bought like 1,000 or 10,000 at the beginning. They would just cash out or whatever. For the price was, the fact that it was
Oh, I haven't got into that. Doesn't have to do well. Way back in the day.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that seems like, cool.
You know, when you look at those decisions and you're like, you're wasting your time. It's like they get so unregulated and so bad. Or even 15 years or whatever it was. Yeah. Missed opportunity. But can't take them all. I was renting a place in 2013 for my guy, and that was the first time I'd heard of Bitcoin. He said, if you want, you can pay your rent in Bitcoin. And I was like, oh. You know, I had heard of it, but I didn't know much about it. And I always think to myself, man, I wish I would have done that once, because I probably would have bought, you know, it was only worth like $100 a coin or something.
Yeah.
So it's like I probably would have bought, you know, 2,000 worth to pay him. But yeah, your one little rental month would have made that guy like an apartment building. Seriously. Would have been 28 Bitcoins or whatever. I think I remember 2,800 and five. Oh man.
So much missed opportunity.
It's like this guy paid me for 1 month's rent and I bought an apartment building of 500.
You guys, yeah, the meme I posted about Bitcoin said, it said cryptocurrency and then it said my mental health. You got,
No, I didn't see that.
let me put it in my quick chat. It's funny.
You see that the place where I got out at 221 on the Apple? That's the daily 200. What a resistance zone, man. It just came there and came to a dead halt.
Yeah.
Look at you.
I just put it in the mentoring chat if you wanna check it out.
Yeah, it's too funny.
You see that, Thor?
Yes.
I gotta run, y'all. I'll talk to y'all in a bit.
Okay. Thank you. Did you see that, Kazoo? You see that link I put?
Sorry, no, I was watching the stream.
Okay.
Uh,
It's in my free chat.
Feels like that on my head sometimes, man, the stress of this stuff. This is literally how I felt on Friday. 4 days of nothing, no volatility, man. Friday I was just out of control.
Hey, Al. You there? I know Al had money in Solana.
I'm here.
Check out the mentoring chat. I put a meme in there.
That's what I feel like sometimes. You can handle the volatility in crypto. I mean, shit.
I was
I was
just,
up to like 295, and then it just fell off the cliff. So. Man.
But you made like 90K on Mister though, right?
Yeah, I was thinking about that the last time you said that. That was years ago, 3, 4 years, probably longer. A lot of that has been given back to the market.
Yeah.
That was a loan. That was a $90,000 loan.
Yeah.
that was your education.
That was education. Yeah, that was my MBA and trying to get here.
That's literally how I did it. I made it big with a 1-1 and then I lost forever until I learned how to trade.
Yeah, that was like a 2-year loan. I thought I was pretty smart. Turns out I actually was not.
That was luck until you realized what you were doing. But it got you to the point of where you are now.
Yeah, exactly. You know what the funny part about that, Lauren, is? I didn't even get a full fill on the original amount of options. That should have been like 290. But because, you know what I mean? Like, Robinhood at the time, like, I spent all the contracts I tried to buy, I didn't even get 50% of it. So, man, I got shaken out big time. I had a phenomenal trade going short here, and I just got, I could make money, whatever, but like, fake out, they got me.
I don't know if you, I don't know if you traded yesterday, but yesterday was really,
Yesterday was phenomenal. I did not trade yesterday, but it looked really clean.
yeah, but at the end of the day, they ruined everyone. Anyone that's trying to hold too long, they just dumped it, like literally dumped it.
Yeah,
It was, I think they were playing on like the market enthusiasm for the inauguration. They pushed it up just until at the end of the day, and then they just devastated everybody. They're kind of doing that today. The way I look at this, you know, a lot of enthusiasm. You see the market, you know, because they see the same thing we do, market structure and all this. So they play into it just to take everyone's money away.
I think they were playing to the junkies out there, man, like trader junkies.
Yeah,
It was yesterday, only thing open was future.
yeah. Well, you got to be aware of this because, you know, so if you are on their side, you would do it too, right? You want to make money, and if you had the money to manipulate market a certain way, like we would do the same thing. It's not personal, but they are bastards, like the little bastards. They get their fills, and they, you know, get their they get their fills, and they get their entries on retail stock. That's how they do it.
As traders, we gotta stop trading against each other and learn to trade against the regular market makers. Right now, a lot of people just battle each other and just do what they do. You gotta follow the big whales and learn how, like you're talking about, the small concepts around it.
Yeah. Yeah, we want to identify where they're going to manipulate the market. Wait till it goes there, and then
See where they're going and catch their ride.
Yeah.
Depends on how big the group of we is that you're talking about, though, because if everybody did the right thing, nobody would make any money. The whales are, if you follow the whales, you're making the money off of the same poor thinking retail traders that are losing the money.
The NPCs. No, I'm kidding.
Here's the thing, I think anyone who enters the market and doesn't put the proper education in, those people will constantly be coming in, and they'll constantly be making money in. And those are the traders I'm talking about.
If you can identify that the liquidity is being manipulated, you are the liquidity.
Exactly. The people who are just jumping in because, you know, if you're jumping in based on
Fair flag, bull flag,
yeah,
high
that kind of
break,
stuff.
low day break, double top, double bottom.
You just don't realize the.
There's a reason why those strategies are on the books. probably the market making smart money. It's like, oh yeah, let's put some more books out on how to trade.
Consider if you're doing the same thing that the evil bastards are doing, does that turn you into an evil bastard?
No, it just makes you aware. You know,
I'm not in denial.
people think
Right, and you can choose how you wanna play it, and if you choose to play it like everybody else, then, well, you play it like everyone else.
and you help everyone else.
God mode, then you're in God mode.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what I figure. Everyone starts with the same opportunity. So same thing kind of applies with what I do with the locals, right? I learned obviously, I told everybody, I learned from Ross. Ross trades on these people, and if you learn the trade literally like Ross, you're learning the trade based on the other people's learning.
What I'm saying was an introspection thing. Pivotal said that these people that, you know, the smart money that are doing these manipulations and stuff are evil bastards. So if you take advantage of the smart money evil bastards moves, does that turn you into one of them?
No, it's just riding.
I'm doing the same thing they're doing, but I'm not one of them.
You're an undercover agent. Anyway, guys, I think I'm gonna sign off for the day.
Okay, well, you know, your $5 win is actually a $2,500 win or a $500 win.
$5 is a success story in my mind. Like this is it kept me out of literally besides this one ticker that's gone up 177% now. Everything has been below 50% movement for me. So my $5 win saved me so much I could have lost like on price. It's all about mindset.
Oh yeah, check out INN now in that
It's IMN.
it rolled over.
ASSP, I don't know if you heard my alerts going off, if it went off on me. ASSP is the one that's moving.
What is it? ISSP?
ASSP, like pass with a T at the end. So in the morning, it went from 88 cents to $1.40.
Sorry, ESP?
ASSP.
Oh, ASSP.
Yeah, it went from $1,
Oh yeah, look at it.
88 cents,
Wonder that.
88 cents around 9.50, and now it's going off like mad all morning. It's hitting the 200 now, so it's like not a block.